Hi and welcome to Leitrim Daily's YouTube channel, and we've had to move things around a little bit because of the new restrictions on coronavirus. Of course, elite sport does continue, and that includes for Leitrim Hurlers the Nicky Rackard Cup this Saturday afternoon, and at 4 o'clock in the athletic grounds in Armagh sees the Leitrim Hurlers take to the field in their first championship outing this year. Now, today we're going to be joined by one of their currently injured players who will be joining us to talk to us all about the season so far, the disappointment of the league final last week, which we touched on in our interview with Liam Morton last weekend. But we're going to go and have a little chat with Karl McDermott. Karl, you're very welcome to the programme.
How are you, Breifne? Thanks for having me.
I'm great. Thanks very much for joining us. You're our first guest in this new online digital world of the video conference and recordings that we're doing out. So you're very welcome to the show. We might start with that senior league final last week, the Division 3B. We get the negative stuff out of the way first. Yeah. Tell us your own thoughts a couple of days now after the game.
Yeah, look, it was a hard one to take. I only played a small part of the game myself. I started and I came off at the first water break, just pulled up with a hamstring injury. But look, the game was it was a fantastic game. The lads played really, really well afterwards. Sligo were a brilliant team. They're really good, and I think the lads did fantastic to keep them. And for most of the game, we were leading. I think Sligo hit a lot of wides, which I think was a credit to our defence. They didn't get any shots away, without any pressure being put on them. But the lads did really well, and I think ran out of steam towards the end. And Sligo, some of their key players, really took advantage of a few opportunities in that period. But yeah, look, it was a pity. But I was really proud of the way the boys played really well.
How disappointing is it to have to come off that early in a final that everyone's been looking forward to since March?
Yeah. Look, it's sickening. It's really sickening. We were really up for that game back in March. Really up for it. We were prepped to go up to the Hyde in March and just really put up a big game. But it's different times now. Getting ready for the game, it was hard to get into the same mindset coming up to it as well. And I was carrying a different injury, which I completely focused on getting that right. And that was perfect. That was my hand. The hand felt great then on the day, hurling really well. And then 10 minutes in, hamstring pulled up, and it was just kind of like one of those things. What do you do? Come off, and I don't know. It's just a strange feeling.
In terms of, I suppose, the club scene at the moment, we spoke to Liam about it the other day, and of course his side came out the right side of the result in the county final. Yourself, thoughts after that game a couple of weeks ago? Disappointed?
Yeah, disappointed isn't the word. That was just like the year before after extra time. That was a tough one to take too. Sure, look, you get used to these things. This is what you have to take in sport. You've got to take the good days with the bad days, and it was good to be able to get back up on the horse fairly quick, get back out with the county team, and kind of just put that behind. Especially in the current climate and everything that's going on, to be able to focus on something like a county squad and to prepare for a league final after losing a county final was just perfect. It was tough to go back in, obviously, with the Carrick boys and just forget about it. But you just need to get back on the horse after something like that.
Yeah, and how does that actually work in the squad? Because a lot of different sports, whether it's Premiership soccer into international teams, you've got an England squad or an Ireland squad, and they all come in from maybe 15 or 20 clubs out for 23 players. With Carrick and Clooney, it's very much a case of every single player comes from one of two clubs. So that rivalry almost has to be put aside. How hard is it to turn on and off that rivalry, depending on, I suppose, who's in the dressing room with you on any given day?
It's hard, yeah. I'll be honest, it is hard. Because the county final every year, even though it's just the county final and there's no other games in the build up to it, it's just ferocious, and the rivalry is massive between the two clubs. So you really do, and I know the Carrick boys just as much as the Manor lads get up for that game. And other years you have a few months to put that behind you, and to get excited about the county season, but you just need to be mature about it. You could throw a strop after a county final and get mad with the lads, but there's nothing you can hold against them. You're gonna there's gonna be a lot of hard hits in a county final, and you just put that behind you and shake their hand at the end of the day and go in and be happy to play with them for the county team. Then a week later,
In terms of this week coming, I suppose it's a week later now from last week. In terms of the game on Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m. in the Athletic Grounds, it must be, I suppose, exciting for the squad to be back. I know you won't be part of it because of the injury, but it must be exciting for the squad to be back out. But also that little bit of fear that's crept in. Leitrim didn't field their team in Down last week. I know Longford and Cork is off this week for similar reasons. What's the mood in the camp?
No, the mood is fine. There's not a whole pile of worry about over the game going ahead or not. It's about just managing our own setup responsibly, and lads really taking care of themselves outside of the county team, whether it be work or who they're meeting up with, that they're just being responsible and they're not putting the rest of the team at risk. So. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Like I wouldn't be afraid of going away to a game like up in Armagh, because I think the games are managed to a very high standard. There's a lot of officials there, and there's very few. Like the spectators aren't allowed in. You're interacting with very few people outside of the team, your teammates that you're interacting with. During training, you drive, like the game last weekend. Everyone drove to it individually. You got out, you walked to the dressing room. We had 3 dressing rooms for the full team. So you're only interacting with the players and then the managers, and you play the game, you get back in your car and you drive home. So it's not too bad.
Is there 3 dressing rooms in every venue though? Because if you come to Park Sean McDermott, for example, there's 4 dressing rooms total. So that kind of option doesn't exist in probably most of the county grounds.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, well, my point is just that I think the GAA and the GAA officials are taking it seriously, and they're trying to minimise the risk where possible. So like it's our responsibility as well, but I just think the GAA is being professional about it as much as possible.
How much do you read into, I suppose, the public discourse about whether a game should be up and running? I know today now we lost the under-17 championship, which was due to kick off on Friday night. Is that a disappointment? Not that it affects you personally, but that some games are starting to fall. Can you see us completing a championship?
It's a controversial one now. Just through my work, I will be talking to a lot of people about the GAA, and there's very mixed reaction to whether it should go ahead or not. In my opinion, I feel it should go ahead. I feel there's a lot of areas in community in Ireland that they're spread other outside the GAA, and I think the GAA holds massive importance in Irish community, especially in times like this, just for a relief for people to talk about, have something to talk about, something to look forward to, like to be able to look forward to. Like, I know our game won't have a whole pile of spectators tuning into it, but there will definitely be people who will look forward to our games. But like the games, the Sam Maguire and Liam McCarthy games cannot be underestimated how important they are for people around Ireland. Like just looking forward to watching the match and then talking about it the week after, that it's something outside of COVID for people to talk to, because it seems like that really is all there is to talk about nowadays. So I think it's very important that they go ahead.
Yeah, and I do agree with you in principle, in terms of if we cast our minds back to March, April, May, when literally everything shut down, and if it happened inside the 4 walls of your house, you knew about it. Outside of that, you didn't. There really was no other distractions. So creating that opportunity, as you said, in a very controlled environment, to provide that form of entertainment to sports fans, to GAA fans in particular. I suppose the other argument about the arts and theatre and all that sort of stuff is really for another discussion. It's for another group of people. But I think it's creating that entertainment factor of distraction maybe from the lockdown for the next 6 weeks. Speaking about the game, obviously it's only a week since, or even 6 days since the league final disappointment. Will Ulcan and Liam and the lads be able to turn around the mood in the camp quickly enough to compete with Armagh at the weekend?
Oh, I think so. I think definitely, yeah. We had training there last night, and again on Thursday should be 2 light sessions, a lot of talking, a lot of communication, just move on again. I think they'll definitely be able to get up for this game. Like it's at the end of the day, it's a new step. I know we played in the Nicky Rackard 2 years ago, but it's a new step to look forward to. It's a new challenge playing Armagh. I don't think anyone in the squad has played Armagh before, especially up at the athletic grounds. Like it's just they're a fantastic team too. Like they were in the Nicky Rackard final, so if we could get a scalp and get over them, it'd be a fantastic start and just show great intent for the start of the competition.
For 1 second, can you just break down to me the different levels? Because we all know about the Liam McCarthy Cup, the whole country knows about that. It's followed across the country every year. But then you start dropping down into the Joe McDonough, the Christy Ring, the Nicky Rackard that we're in now, and the Laurie Maher that we won last year. And I suppose in a football context, all the counties play in the one level, some more successfully than others. But in hurling, that's not the case because of the level in each county and each of the clubs that make up that county. Can you explain maybe to people who aren't familiar with that, what that means for Leitrim and where they sit in that fourth tier of hurling in the county at the moment?
Um, well, we played traditionally in the Laurie Maher. We always played in the Laurie Maher, the bottom division. We got promoted 2 years ago to the Nicky Rackard without winning, just getting to the final, and we got relegated the following year back down to the Laurie Maher. Now we won the Laurie Maher last year, for the first time, and now we're playing in the Nicky Rackard again. Um, and the importance of it is just instead of losing to higher quality teams regularly, it gives you the opportunity to play with teams that are of your standard until you build your squad, and you always have something that you can aim at. Like you can always aim to, like we won the Laurie Maher, and now we can aim to win the Nicky Rackard and keep progressing and building our squad, building our, the hurling in the community through underage and through other areas that it just long term it leaves more room for development of the sport in the county.
In terms of, I suppose, the outlook for the season, as you said, Armagh were in the final of it last year. You won the division below to get to this level. Is survival the story of the year, much like the footballers in Division 3 of the league, or is there a realistic chance of Leitrim pushing on and competing at this level?
There's definitely a realistic chance of us competing. But realistically, what it comes down to is the first game, the second game. That's what's going to decide whether you're looking at a relegation battle or whether you're into a semi-final and you're pushing on. Like one game can make a massive difference, and one performance can completely change your outlook of a championship. They changed the rules earlier on in the year, I think, because they wanted to level out the number of teams in the Laurie Maher, that they were going to relegate 3 teams from the Nicky Rackard this year and only promote 1 into the Christy Ring. They've changed that now since again, and I think they're relegating 2 teams. So there are still 2 teams out of 7 playing teams to go down, which is it's high enough. But if we can get a win against Armagh or else in the following game, it would put us in a very strong position to push for a semi-final place and not to be fighting a relegation battle.
Of course, and Sligo, of course, won the Nicky Rackard Cup last year. They're now in the third level, which I think is the Christy Ring, if I'm not mistaken. I might have got my orders mixed up. But they've been promoted out of this grade, and I suppose going on recent form until the 52nd, 53rd minute, 62nd minute last week, you were living with them and ahead of them by 4 or 5 points going into the last 5, 10, 8 minutes of that game. So, it's very exciting time for hurling, despite the mess that's around it and the restrictions and all the uncertainty that brings. At the moment, we're talking Wednesday night. Anyone that we're worried about that might not be available for the game for COVID or other reasons other than yourself?
I'm not 100% sure in terms of injury. I know there were a few lads. Gavin O'Hagan had a foot injury, and Aaron, my brother, had a shoulder injury, but they both played the full game the last day. I don't know how Gavin's foot is. I think we'll just have to wait and see. I think they should be both training tomorrow night, so I think we're all good that way.
Well, listen, I just want to say thank you very much for joining me. The best luck with the injury. I hope it heals. You're not travelling yourself on Sunday or Saturday?
I don't think I will. Just with the current climate, like, and the situation with the COVID, I think be as well off just step back. I am due to be working on Saturday as well, so I think I'll just work and maybe be a bit more responsible and stay at home this time.
I think we all have to make decisions for the good of everybody and not just ourselves over the next few weeks and months. To Karl McDermott, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure chatting to you. The best of luck to the Leitrim Hurlers on Saturday evening, 4 p.m. in the Athletic Grounds in Armagh. The game, I believe, is live on the GAAGO app, so you'll be able to check it out over there. And don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe to the show down below. Karl, thank you very much for joining me.
No problem, Breifne. Thanks very much for having me.